Hey guys, I'm Jonathan and welcome to lesson number 3 of this brand new series that we've started called Daring Faith. Not just faith, daring faith. Faith is something that pleases God. We will see how we can be people of faith. God goes, yes, when he sees a person of faith like you and me. Today's story is about a man named Joshua. Joshua loved God with all his heart. Raise your right hand if you've heard about this person called Joshua. I can see your hands. That's nice. So Joshua is going to be our daring faith champion for today. There is a book in the Bible named Joshua. It tells us about the kind of life Joshua lived and all the amazing things that he did. Do you know how he could do so much? He could do this only because he had faith. The story that we've selected for you today is how Joshua, as the new leader of the nation of Israel, needed a daring faith to cross the river Jordan at a time when the river was at flood stage, making it almost impossible for anyone to walk and cross over it. The nation of Israel had something very special with them the day they were crossing the river. It was the Ark of the Covenant. Do you know what the Ark of the Covenant is? You probably have heard of Noah's Ark, which was a boat. Well, the Ark of the Covenant is not that. And why don't you write this down with me? The Ark of the Covenant. When you go to your small groups today, please discuss this with your friends and your teacher. Let's get back to the story. Now, they have to cross the river Jordan, which is gushing with water at flood stage, and they have the Ark of the Covenant. How are they going to do it? Is there a bridge? Are they going to walk over it? Well, God had a plan for them. It would be a miracle, but first, they needed to have faith in God's plan. God asked Joshua to have the priests carry the Ark of the Covenant. God said that as soon as the priests with the Ark of the Covenant stood in the water would stop flowing and dry ground would appear. Remember what I told you last time. When you have faith, it shows. Faith always shows. The Bible tells us that the river Jordan was at a flood stage during this time. And as soon as the priests who were carrying the Ark of the Covenant touched the water's edge with their feet, the river from upstream stopped flowing. It piled up into a big heap upstream, and look, before them was dry ground. Whoa! Have you ever heard that a river stopped flowing? Like that? I've never heard about it. Well, it happened because God said, and it happened just as He said. But for Joshua to believe what God said and ask the priests to carry the Ark of the Covenant and step into the water, that needed faith. And not just any ordinary faith, daring faith. So Joshua had faith in God's promises, because of which he was able to lead the priests and the people of Israel to do exactly what God had commanded them to do. So the priests, along with the Ark of the Covenant, went and stood in the middle of the river Jordan on dry ground. And till the time they were standing, the entire nation of Israel could cross over. When the last person had finished crossing over to the other side, the priests, along with the Ark of the Covenant, started moving out of the river. And as soon as the last priest had crossed over to the other side, you won't believe what happened. The Jordan River's water came back to how it was. The river returned back to its flood stage. Wow! So in your small groups, I want you to discuss these 3 questions. First, who dried up the water? Second, what was so amazing about Joshua's faith? Number 3, who influenced Joshua's faith? The story of Joshua teaches us that when we believe God's word, miracles happen. Ask yourself today, is there an impossible situation in your life that you think needs a miracle? Well, remember the many promises that God has for you in His Word. So, what is stopping you from believing God's Word today? I'm sure you're going to have a great discussion today in your small groups. So, tag along with your teacher and your friends, and I'm sure you're going to have a blast talking about the faith of our daring faith champion, Joshua. But wait, before you go, just like Joshua, I can believe that God will do more than what I can imagine. I want to leave you with that thought. So that's the end of lesson number 3. I will see you next week with another video, another fresh lesson, and yes, another daring faith champion. Bye bye. See you.